Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for attending our webinar today on improving exhibiting performance, value, and ROI by applying the exhibit marketing process. My name is Ryan Page. I am the marketing manager for Pittcon, and I am joined by our team today. First off, our client relations and acquisitions manager, Ms. Colleen Ellison.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for having me, and thank you, Jefferson, as well. I'm really happy to be here. As Ryan said, my name is Colleen Ellison, and I'm the Client Relations and Acquisition Manager here at Pittcon. I wanted to let you know that we see our relationship with you and your organization as a long-term partnership, and we're here to help you achieve your goals, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but I will go ahead and turn it back over to you guys.
Thank you, Colleen. We're also joined in the wings by our exposition manager, Ms. Stephanie Chrisman. She will be on hand during the Q&A portion to answer any specific questions that we may have about sponsorships, placement, any kind of stuff like that. So let's get right into it. Here at Pittcon, we're committed to the success of all of our partners, exhibitors, sponsors, participants, and therefore it's only fitting that us as an organization, we align ourselves with someone whose technical expertise, industry experience, capacity to educate matches our intensity in the focus for innovation. And that's a very short list, to be sure. But the gentleman that's going to be presenting today is at the top of that list. Mr. Jefferson Davis is the principal and founder of Competitive Edge. And Competitive Edge is an education, training, and consulting firm that has broken down the practice of show exhibition to a science. Through 32 years of tenure, he has seen a ton in the event industry, and with processes like the exhibit marketing process that he has coined and developed himself, he has fixed much more. So today he is going to present us with this process. He's going to lend us his knowledge in comprehensive strategies to make your exhibiting experience with Pittcon a true game changer. So without further ado, Mr. Jefferson Davis.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Colleen, Stephanie, Tammy, and everybody at Pittcon. Again, and especially you exhibitors who are here with us today. If you're like me, you've probably exhibited at a lot of shows over the years. And chances are, in most other shows that you do, the only time you hear from the show producer is when they want to sell you something, they want to check, they send you that service kit with all that logistical operational stuff. And so how cool is it for all of us here to be partnered with a great organization like Pittcon and a great team, right? Whose philosophy is not just to rent you concrete and hope it works out, but to add a ton of value to the exhibit package by providing ongoing exhibitor education, training, and support. So I'm thrilled to be part of this. One thing, if you've been around me over the years, and I've been around Pittcon for a while now, two things about me. Well, three things. Number one, I'm super passionate about really unlocking the incredible power of trade shows. Number one. Number two, I'm results focused. I've never viewed a trade show as a place where I show up, fly the company flag, hand out some tchotchkes, scan some badges, go home and do it again. I've always viewed it as a place where I had to make $1 do the work of 10, and it was always about the results. One of my mentors told me early on, which set my career, he said, Jefferson, in business, results are the name of the game, right? So that's how I've always viewed. And the third thing is process, right? I believe in business that almost everything that we do can be broken down into a process that can be orchestrated, validated, and then used and expanded, right? And scaled, right? So that's what we're going to talk about here today. Before I jump into that, I want to learn just a quick little thing about our audience here today. How long has your company been exhibiting with Pittcon? The poll is live right now. Fastest fingers, look up, click the radio dial button that applies. Maybe you're brand new. This is your first time coming to Pittcon. Maybe you 1 to 4 years, and with the pandemic, maybe this is your second year back, and You were with us in 18, 19 before everything got shut down. You know, maybe you're in that 5 to 9 year, which we would call that kind of seasoned exhibitor. That that exhibitor's been with us all those years, maybe longer. So, wow, what a group. 82% of you have polled. Let me share the results and so you can see who's with us today. We've got 7% new. Welcome. You know what? As Colleen said, we view this relationship as a long-term partnership with the goal of helping you grow your business. We're going to do everything we can do to build an incredible venue. We're going to do everything we can do to attract as many analytic chemists, scientific professionals to the city and into the convention center and into the hall. We're going to do everything we can do, right, to set you in a position to succeed. But you're going to have to do your part too, right? It's not just renting space and showing up and hoping that this works out. You got to put in the work. You know, the amount of work that you put in between now and when you show up, that's what's going to make the difference. We want to make sure that you know what work needs to be put in, and we're giving you access to all the resources so you can do it quick, fast, and in a hurry, but most important, do it effectively. Those of you in the 1 to 4 years, hopefully you've engaged with the ESRC. We'll look at that in a minute. Hopefully, if you've been getting the exhibit effectiveness evaluation reports, that you've been looking at those, kind of, seeing where you're doing well and seeing what you need to improve. And for those of you who have been with us 10 years plus, thank you for that, that long-term commitment to being part of the Pittcon community, the Pittcon family, right? It tells us that you're in it to win it. So let's get this thing rolling here. We have got much to do in a little bit of time. The Exhibitor Success and ROI Center, I don't know why my camera went fuzzy. Let me try it again. It went fuzzy, so I'm going to turn it off for a moment and turn it back on. But the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center is really home base. It's your place to go 24/7. There we go. That's better. 365, right? 24/7, 365. It's free, right? It's part of your exhibit package. This program, along with our evaluation program, which we do at Pittcon, won Trade Show Executive Gold 100 Award for the best program to help exhibitors maximize ROI. So what I want to make sure is that all of you are aware of it. More importantly, I want to make sure that you're going there and using it, because there's over $10,000 of proven effective content. I've been working as a consultant trainer now for over 30 years. Of the clients I've worked with that I know of, when we've done post tracking, combined, we've been able to pull over $800 million in results out of shows. So there's one thing I know about shows. I know that if you see them properly and you execute them properly, what you can get will blow your mind. And I'm essentially taking a lot of the same stuff that I do when companies hire me as a consultant trainer, making it available to you for free on this site, right? So there's a lot of content. I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of content up there. So this year, we really stepped back and reorganized the ESRC into a 5-step content consumption plan. If you look on the right, you'll see the new and updated ESRC, the new and improved, I would call it, right? Step 1, download the tools, get control of your program, download these tools. Step 2, plan to win. Grab these. We've got these exercises that are quick exercises that'll help you hit the critical success factors. Download these. Now, don't do them all at one time. Please do not try to set and do them all at once. You know how the old saying goes, right? How do you eat an elephant? The answer is easy. One bite at a time, right? So I would encourage you to do these exercises, space them out a week or two apart, gather your team together, do them one at a time. The rest of the content, the webinar replays and the articles, are support content that will help you address these 5 critical success factors. Okay, and you have the ability at any time to go and click a button and ask me questions. I'm essentially your unpaid, meaning it ain't costing you a dime, but I'm on your team. You got a question about exhibiting productivity, bring it to me, right? I will turn over every leaf I can to help you answer that question so you have a productive, and if you're in it to grow your business and drive revenue, a profitable exhibiting experience. So what's the big takeaway here? Bookmark this page, share it with everybody on your team, and visit often, because there is a lot of content. We've been building this ESR, I call it ESRC. We've been building it for several years now. So make sure you get there. Okay, so here we go. Today's is about how do we improve the productivity of our exhibit, and how do we improve our return on investment if we're in it for economic business development reasons, right? And so process is what we're talking about here. So I want to start off with 3 really good quotes from giants whose shoulders that I'm standing on today. Number 1, the great Peter Drucker, really one of America's foremost business management gurus. And Mr. Drucker said it so eloquently. He said there's only 2 things that drive revenue in a business, just 2 things: marketing and innovation, right? So we're talking about exhibit marketing, event marketing, and we're talking about bringing some innovation to your exhibiting and event marketing. Everything else is an expense, right? So that's a really interesting way to look at it. And second, W. Edwards Deming, right, says that if you can't describe what you're doing as a process, now don't shoot me, I'm only the piano player here, then you don't know what you're doing, right? And he's pretty qualified. He was the one, I believe, that created the name. It started in Japan with a continuous improvement process. So man, this is a heavyweight here. So process, right? And finally, the great Tom Peters, right? From good to great, one of the great people who have really looked at businesses and said that almost all quality improvement comes from the simplification. I'm going to drop all the other words and I'm going to 2 words. Almost all quality improvement comes from the simplification of processes and procedures, right? So 3 heavyweights talking about the importance of process. Okay, so that's going to throw out a really big question. And what I like here today too, 64% of you on this webinar with me have been doing shows for over 10 years, been doing Pittcon for over 10 years. So here's the question that I want to bring out to you as we dive into this topic. Right now, coming into this webinar, could you or would you say that you have a clear and a well-defined strategic process, right, to plan and execute your exhibit to make sure that this big investment of both time and money, right, delivers visible and measurable results that are important to your company? So here's what I'd like you to do right now. Everybody on here, open up your question queue right now. Go to question, click. And I would want you to say, if you can answer this question with a yes, right? Give me that in caps. Yeah, we sure do. If you're kind of in that, we've been doing it for a while and we have some procedures. I'm not really sure if it's a process, but we're not winging it, right? We're not winging it. Then go there and say, somewhat. And if you're saying, no, we don't really have process, we're caught in what I call the logistics trap, meaning that 95% of our pre-show time is spent on get the space, get the booth, get the graphics, get the products, get the people, ship and fly them in, set it up, tear it down, send it home, do all that on time and on budget, and call that pre-show planning. So where do you fall on that? Absolutely, we've got a process. We're killing it at shows. We kind of do. Maybe we haven't really structured it, or yeah, no, maybe we're winging it a little bit. And by the way, be honest here, right? Because as Dr. Phil, I think, says it, you can't fix what you don't acknowledge, right? So if you don't have a process, there's no shame in that. Because you know what's crazy about trade shows? This is maybe why I got into business so long ago. That this is what is so crazy. The average company spends, write this down, spends 41.3% of their annual marketing budget. 41.3% is spent on exhibit event marketing. That's the lion's share of the annual marketing spend, 4.1 out of every $10. And here's the other thing that'll blow you away. 98% of the people that are managing the exhibit event marketing spend have not had an hour of formal education in how to do that. And you know how I prove this always? I would ask all of you, how many of you have a college degree in marketing? If you do, I'm going to look at the attendee list right now. Raise your hand on your attendee list. You can click that little raise hand thing. Let me see if you've got anyone's. You have a college degree in marketing. Yeah, several hands are going up. Those of you who have your hands up, how many hours during your formal education in marketing, how many hours of exhibiting trade show education did you get? If you're like most people that I've been asking this question to for over 20 years, you're probably going to say an hour or less, right? You're probably going to say an hour or less, okay? So that's what's crazy about trade shows. It's the lion's share of the marketing spend, and yet the average person who's managing it hasn't really had formal training and education in how to do it, right? And it doesn't make you bad, right? There's no shame in that, but the fact that you're here and you're seeking it out, that's what matters, right? There's another thing that has always driven me, even as old as I am, and I'm a lot older than you think I am, I'll guarantee you that. One of the philosophies I picked up early in life, because I've worked in every industry you can imagine, and I was working in the produce industry for many years, and we had a saying in that industry: when you're green, you're growing; when you're ripe, you're rotting. Right? So if there's one thing that I'm trying to do all the way to my COD, that would be stay green, right? Keep growing, right? And that's what we're here today. So let's keep rocking forward. Now, before I go to this process, I want to ask you one more quick poll. There are so many factors that go into, did you get value and results from your exhibit program? And so I have a poll up right now, and this is a check all that apply, right? So I want to ask you right now, what do you feel is limiting, blocking, or preventing your company from getting more value from the time and the money that you're investing, not only in Pittcon, but really in every show you do? Fastest fingers, look up on the screen. Hey, and by the way, there's a fifth option there, other. Maybe it's something that I didn't put on the list here. I mean, these are big rock factors. Are you getting enough of the right people to your booth? Is your booth staff on task? Are they really interacting with visitors in a way that is putting your best foot forward, delivering your company or your product message or story, right? How are you showing, telling, presenting your solutions? Are you doing that in a way that is multi-sensory, that is having the person walk out of your booth and go, that was awesome, I've got to learn more about that? Is that happening? If it's about lead management, and for most companies, and by the way, leads, I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Leads to me would really be anybody that you interact with that a next step is required on your part, and that next step delivers value for your company. So it's not just a lead that I'm trying to convert to a sale. It could be a potential hire. It could be a student who's going to be a partner or hired down the line, right? It could be anything, right? So let me see what we've got on the poll. Fastest fingers. A few of you haven't polled yet. If you haven't polled, look up right now. Even if you click just one, click one, because this will kind of help me focus on as I peel the onion here over these next 35 minutes. Okay, fastest fingers. Here we go. Looks like about 53% of you have polled. If you haven't polled yet and you're looking away, look up, look at your screen, click that radio dial button, pound that radio dial button that applies, right? There we go, we're at 63. I'm gonna count you down. I'm gonna give you 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. And by the way, again, if there's a topic that you feel is blocking you that I didn't put on this list, please go to other and please send that to me via a question. In your question, you don't have to phrase it as a question, just hit that question and type in, oh, here's what's blocking me, right? All right, thank you. We're near 70%. I'm going to share the results. Okay, and I'm going to capture from my own. Top of the list is lead management. We're going to have a lot to say on that. Number 2 is booth traffic. Number 3 is demos. And number 4 is staff performance. And I'll take a look at the other Q as we go along. So thank you for participating. Let's jump in and let's get this thing rolling. So I don't know if you're the owner of your company. Maybe you are. If you're a small company, you're the owner, then you're wearing a lot of hats, right? But for those of you that are in the marketing department, that are in the events department, that are managing the company's event exhibit program, you've probably got a boss, an owner, a manager. What do they want? What do they want to know that the time and the money that you're managing for the company is doing? Well, I can tell you the 2 things they want. Number 1, they want to know that every dollar and every hour that you're investing, and by the way, write that word down, invest. It's critically important that you view your exhibit marketing program as an investment, not an expense. That's really important. Write that down. Invest, not expense. Here's why. How you see something really influences what you're willing to do. And if you view trade shows as an expense, I can virtually guarantee it'll end up as an expense for your company. On the other hand, if you view trade shows as an investment of human and financial capital, investment, what are you going to be expecting? You're going to be expecting a return, right? You're going to be expecting, and that's going to change how you see it, and that's going to change what you're willing to do. So here's the first thing senior management wants to know. Is the time and the money that you're investing supporting your organization's core business objectives? That's what they want to know. Is it supporting? If it's supporting, yay. Second, here's what they want to know. Are we getting value for the time and the money that you're investing? Ideally, beyond cost. Value beyond cost. Hey, and value comes in so many different ways. And we're going to talk a little bit about measurement in this webinar here today. So those are the 2 high-level things that you want to make sure that your boss, owner, partner, manager, whatever, when they see what you're doing, the time and the money that you're managing and investing, that it's doing these 2 things. So that really raises kind of like a question. You might want to, this is another, as Zig Ziglar used to say, check up from the neck up, right? This is a good, on a scale of 1 to 10. If my CEO walked into me tomorrow and said, hey, Jefferson, you're getting ready to spend $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, $1 million, I don't know. Can you show me how that's supporting our company's core business objectives? Could you answer the question? If your CFO walked in and said, hey, you know, inflation's high, times are tough, business is down, I really need to know where we're getting value beyond cost. Could you show, tell, and demonstrate where you're delivering value beyond cost on a scale of 1 to 10? You don't have to share those numbers. Write them down for your own usage, scale 1 to 10. Because here's what I'll say. If you did not say 8 to 10 on both of these high-level outcomes, there's a lot of room to improve your program. So that raises the question, how are we going to do this? How do we get that higher? Here's the roadmap. Here's the process. During the pandemic, I'd been working with Pittcon for several years before. Pittcon was down for 2 years, right? Closed for 2 years. Had too much time on my hands, as the song said once. You know what I did? I went and I took some of that time and I looked back at my 30-year history, and I looked back at the hundreds of direct exhibiting clients I've worked with directly. And I went back by recency and I looked at what do we do? How do we do it? When do we do it? Why did we do it? With the goal of $800 million of results that I've been able to help generate. And what I wanted to know was, what were the consistent themes? Was there a process behind what we were doing that maybe because of being on the road and on the show floors for 30 plus years, that I never really had the downtime to sit and, you know, get back at 30,000 foot and look down on. And so I did that. And this was the outcome of my work and my research. The exhibit marketing process. It's proven effective, systemic framework. It focuses on the strategic side of exhibiting, not the logistical operational side, right? The strategic side of it. And these are the areas that we have to address to make sure that our program does what? Supports core business objectives, delivers measurable value beyond cost. And here's the promise before I high level this, and we're going to jump and we're going to high point all of these. If you address these factors, you're going to win at every show you do. I'm serious. There's no way you can lose. If you neglect, skip over, or avoid any one or any combination of these factors, the value and the results you get are going to be limited, right? So as you look at the process, and I kind of did that with you a moment ago, when I launched that poll, I said, hey, which of these areas do you feel are most limiting your performance? Now that I've cast a wider net than the original 4 that were in the poll, I want you to take a look at this right now, and I want you to ask yourself, put a circle around the areas that you feel are most limiting, because you're setting right in the sweet spot here. We've got Pittcon coming up in late February. You've got the rest of November, December, January, and February. You got 3.5 months, right? 3.5 months to take this bull by the horns, right? And address these factors. So take a look at this right now and ask yourself, which of these factors might also, beyond what you put in the poll, might be limiting the value and results you're getting. And with that in mind, I'm going to jump in. Now, the first one, I'm going to go through this one quickly because you're already in Pittcon. So I'm going to really hit the high notes on this one. Selection. Be in the right, and by the way, I'm going to use a 6 Sigma approach to how I present this content. The principle here is be in the right shows at the right levels for the right reasons, right? There's a lot in that principle. The practice is a show analysis and selection process. I want to give you just a few high points, and this is a topic that you can go much deeper on if you want to, but we're not going to go today. Key idea number 1. It's not about total show attendance. Everybody gets caught up in, will there be 25,000 or 30,000 attendees, right? That doesn't matter. You know why? Because there's not an exhibitor on this webinar that can handle 25,000 or 30,000 attendees, right? So it's less about how many people in total are attending the show. It's more about number 2, who within this show audience is what I call your ideal visitor. Once I get clear on who my ideal visitor is, then in number 3, I can start to go inside the numbers, inside the attendance data, and begin to look at types of companies, organizations, job functions and titles, areas of specialty, geographical location, and I can start really defining who my visitor is. Because you want to know the truth? You have a limited amount of capacity to interact with attendees at a show, right? You can't talk to them. I had a lady I was doing a strategy meeting with last week. She's new to the veterinary industry. She's got a great solution. The show she's exhibiting had 19,000, is going to have 19,000 veterinary professionals. She called me. We set a strategy call. She said, Jefferson, wow, there's going to be 19,000 attendees. I want to give away something really cool, but I don't think I can afford to give away 19,000. And I said, take a deep breath. You don't need to give, you're not going to be, you can't give away 19,000. The question is, who are the right people? How much is enough? And we ran a formula, and she realized for her sweet spot was about 250 to 350 people. That's all she needs to win the game. She breathed a big sigh of relief when we were done. Okay, so what you want to do is go inside the attendance numbers. Look at the exhibitor prospectus. If the show has information about previous year attendance, if they break it down by disciplines, by many of those other things, what are the demographics they have, right? Number 4, I want to hit briefly because I think this is important since we're going into shows. Every show has what we call a dominant personality. It's the primary reason why people, not exhibitors, it's why the scientific professionals attend the show. And you'll see there's 4 possible personalities. It's an educationally driven event. They're coming for continuing education. It's all about the sessions, and it's all about getting CE, getting credits, right? Second, technical scientific. It's the gathering of the scientific community. It's where what's now and what's coming is revealed. Then you have the social relational event. The primary reason people are going, it's the gathering of the herd, right? if you are a part of this community, you show up at this event, right? It's just how it is. And then you have the buy-sell event, where the primary reason people are coming is they're looking for solutions, they're looking for vendors, they're looking for specific products and services. Now, here's the thing, right? Every show that you do will have a dominant and a subdominant personality. When you understand what that is, and if I had to take a swing at this, being around Pittcon, I would say it's technical scientific, number one, primary reason. And I would say social relational and buy, sell, or sourcing would be number two. That would be my take on the personality of the Pittcon event, okay? Now, I'm gonna just blow past this because I gotta get cranking. We got so much more to cover. But when you look at other shows, ask yourself, how easy does it the organizer make it for me to identify, access, and interact with attendees? And once you understand the total number of people in the audience that match your profile, and you look at your current level of investment, you want to base your investment so you can have enough capacity to interact with the right people. And that's a deep topic. If you want to know more about it, hit me up. You can ask the expert or reach out to me. I'd be happy to set a one-to-one and go deeper with it. So let's move on. All right, alignment. Remember we said support your core business objectives? That's what we're talking about here. So what you want to do in aligning is you want to make sure that the reasons why you're exhibiting directly support your company's core business objectives, and super big and that you have defined not just reasons but outcomes, right? So the practice here is to make sure that you're communicating with your internal company stakeholders, your leadership, to ask them, what are our company's core business objectives over the next 12 to 24 months, right? In the area, the three key areas really of exhibiting. The three big value drivers from exhibiting are marketing, sales, and customer relationship management. And those are value drivers, right? That drive value for a company. So ideally, what you want to do then is talk to your departmental stakeholders and ask, hey, in the area of marketing, what are our company's goals over the next year or two? In the area of sales, what are we trying to do with revenue over the next year or two? In the area of interacting and managing the relationships of our customers and maybe our channel partners and maybe our vendors, right? What are our goals for the next 12 to 24 months? And then from that, you're going to come up with your reasons for exhibiting, right? So for example, on that poll, 63% of you said the number one factor limiting your results was leads, right? So how would you set a goal in leads? Here's how you do it. By the end of Pittcon, we will have captured at least X, and you set a number, 50 qualified leads, 100 qualified leads. Now there's a formula that we use and it's built into the webinar and it's built into the planning tools. So I want you to go grab the planning tools, right? Download all three planning tools. We take the number of exhibiting hours times the number of staff on duty in your booth times a target number of interactions per hour per staffer. And that'll give us what we call our exhibit interaction capacity. From that interaction capacity will come our leads. The conversion is 1 out of 4. On average, 1 out of 4 visitors to a booth are interested enough to request information or follow-up and therefore become a lead. And that's a really good numeric formula you can use to set very specific lead goals. Now you've got a clearly defined lead goal. By closing time, we will have captured at least 50 qualified leads, and then you can define what a qualified lead looks like, okay? Smart goals is what we're talking about here, right? I said reasons are not, if you said, oh, get some leads, and I ask you how many leads, and you said 2,000 leads, and I ran your exhibit interaction capacity and found that you had the capacity to interact with 248 people. How are you going to get 2,000 leads when you only have the capacity to get face-to-face with 248 people? It's not going to happen, right? So you're setting yourself up for disappointment here. And I want my goals to be reach, but realistic, right? They need to stretch me a little bit, but I can't set them so pie in the sky that I'm really setting myself up to lose, okay? So we don't want to do that. On alignment, every goal, like if I said by closing time, I will capture at least 50 qualified leads, I need to reverse engineer that outcome. I need the written action plan. What is the goal? What is the strategy statement? What are the big action steps that I need to take before and during and after the show? Who's involved in those steps? When do they need to happen? How long does it take? Is there money tied into it? What are my measurement, my checkpoints? When am I going to check? Pre, during, and at the show? And I need to put it into a written action plan, right? One of my mentors told me early on, don't just think it, ink it. Don't just think it, ink it, right? And then I got to communicate the plan. I got to make sure everybody on my team knows the goal. They know what their roles are. We have checkpoints before, during, and after the show, and that there's a commitment from my exhibit staff to pursue and achieve the goals, right? And I do that by giving them ownership. So for example, if you said qualified leads, you know what I've found over 30 years? I'm going to fast track leads for you. 1 qualified lead per exhibiting hour per staffer. 1 lead per hour per staffer. When you run the numbers, you'll find that to be very accurate, right? Very accurate. And by the way, if you don't like the end number, you go, really, it's only 48 leads. How do I get more? Then change the variables. The only variables are number of hours in the show. You can't change that. Number of staffers in your booth. Maybe don't overstaff. The number of interactions per hour per staffer. Those are your variables, okay? And then finally, your checkpoint. So on this yellow box is going to point you to the content on the ESRC that I showed you that'll help you address this topic. Download the trade show productivity and planning tool. Download and do the define your outcome exercise. Watch these 3 webinars beyond what I'm talking about today, because they're deeper dives on these topics, and read the articles that are on planning for success. So that's your first assignment. Let's keep on rolling here. And by the way, if questions come in, let them rip. I'm 2 beats behind, but I'm going to pick up my pace here. Again, we're going to record today. You're going to have the workbook, so don't panic if I have word gusts of 300 words a minute, which are likely to happen, right? But don't panic. We're recording today. You have the workbook, and you can view this and slow it down in any part you want to review. So, design a valuable interactive visitor experience, right? So the principle here is that where the value is clear, the decision is easy, okay? And so you want to really stand off and look at your booth and your product demonstration and your staff, and you want to ask yourself, is this valuable and is it highly interactive for my audience, right? Because every decision an attendee makes while they're at a show is a value-based choice. Should I go to this booth or should I go to that booth? Should I go to this educational session or should I go to that session? Should I meet with this colleague or that colleague? And they're always trying to focus on what they're going to get the most value. So let's talk about the experience a little bit, some big ideas around the experience. People attend trade shows. If you really want to get down to why they attend, it comes down to 4 reasons. Write these down. That's not in your workbook. They come to learn. They come to network. They come to find solutions to problems or opportunities to seize. And they come to have fun. Learn, network, solutions, opportunities, fun. It's really what it comes down to, right? So now you ask yourself, how can I design my visitor experience? Meaning what happens in my booth and at my events that I might be doing to address as many of these needs as possible? What can we quickly teach them in a fast, fun, novel, interactive way? What are they going to learn, right? How can we bring a little fun into it, right? How can we bring a little play? We all need to laugh more. We need to smile more, right? We need to really be in the moment and have fun. Put on a show. Make your booth that booth. When someone walks in your booth and they go around the Pittcon floor, they're like, dude, have you been? Oh, you got to go check out this booth. That's what you're going for here. It's show business. Put on a show, right? Think about, what do you want the visitor to do? Physically, mentally, immersively do. What do you want them to learn or know? And what do you want them to remember after they leave your booth? And build your product, the way you show, tell, display your product. what your staff does. Build it all around that. Do learn. And very important, multi-sensory engagement. See, hear, do, learn. I think Confucius said it well. Confucius said, I hear and I think. He said, I see and I remember. He said, I do and I know. So make sure that you get as much visitor interactivity into the experience as you possibly can. And can you give them feedback? How do you let the visitor respond to the experience in the booth? So you can figure out if they're like, oh, this is awesome, I got to know more. So-so, or yeah, no, this isn't really for us, right? That's what I want to know at the end of each interaction. So let me point you to some content on the ESRC. We've got an exercise on planning the visitor experience. We've got a webinar replay called Dynamic Demos. Watch it. And we've got articles, including standout exhibit reports, right, on how to create an effective exhibit. So do, watch, read. There you go, designing the experience. All right, let's talk about Big Rock here. This was the second, what came up on your poll up front when I asked you what's limiting your results. It was attracting. So the practice here, right, is, and this got mixed up a little, the principle is attract enough of the right. Circle those two words, enough of the right attendees, right? The practice is to develop and execute a well-designed pre and at show marketing campaign, okay? So that first question is, who are the right people for you? You've got to look into, and that's where your visitor profile comes in. Type of organization or company, the job function and title, the areas of specialization, the geographical location, whatever else you can capture about who they are. How many people you need to interact with? I gave you the formula. Number of show hours times number of booth staff on duty on average times target number of interactions per hour per staffer. 24 hours times 2 staffers is 48 times 4 interactions per hour is somewhere, 48 is somewhere around 196 interactions. That's my target. I only need to get 196 of the right people to my booth. The value proposition. Remember I said every choice they make at the show, am I going to get more value by going here or there? And it's your job to stand off from your products and your services through the eyes of your customer and ask yourself, what are they going to see? What are they going to do? What are they going to learn? And what are they going to get by visiting my booth, right? And then when you come up with your value proposition, you just, before and during the show, you communicate it through as many channels as you can. Right? You put as many legs on the horse. That horse needs to have at least 4 legs to run a race, right? So at least 4 channels. And then you definitely want to take a look at Pittcon's Exhibitor. There's so many things that you can do on your own, right? So many things you can do on your own. And we talk about a lot of those in the other webinars. So I want you to go watch those. But there are Pittcon marketing opportunities that you should know about. Finally, to increase your response rate, deliver your value proposition and offer some form of a reward for visiting or responding. So on the website, we've got a identify and attract your visitor exercise, win the game before kickoff. That's all about this, integrating content and using social media. And we got killer articles up on the website. So please go check that out. Now I'm going to bring Colleen back on just for a moment. Please know we're not here to sell you anything today. But what I do want you to understand that a good pre-marketing plan will include everything you can do on your own, and then integrating Pittcon's exhibitor marketing ops. And Colleen wants to just kind of let you know who she is and spotlight a couple opportunities. And don't go away, because the heavy lifting is coming right after this. Colleen, back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jefferson. And again, I am the Client Relations and Acquisition Manager here at Pittcon. Thank you so much to those of you who have participated in Pittcon in the past. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I certainly welcome all the people that will be joining us at Pittcon in San Diego. I did want to let you know that we do value that relationship, and we are trying to do our best to make it as personal of an experience for you as we can. We're going to partner with you and help you achieve your goals. Today, I'd like to focus in on a few opportunities, kind of as like a sneak peek, ways to help you increase your brand awareness and extend your outreach to your target audience. One way to make Pittcon productive and profitable for your business is to take advantage of our digital ad opportunities. Not sure if y'all are aware that we do offer mobile push app notifications and website banners. Those are just a few. We have other things available as well. Certainly you can reach out and we'll work with you. These are all wonderful ways to get name recognition for your business and to draw traffic to your booth. I'd also like to give you a couple ideas of some cutting edge ways to be well recognized at Pittcon. Like Jefferson said, you are there, you are putting on a show. Currently, we have an amazing 40 by 11.5 foot digital marquee sponsorship available. This is a massive light wall and it's located above the registration area before you enter Pittcon. It's a fabulous way to stand out in the crowd at Pittcon, and the marquee gives your business very high visibility and it will make a major statement upon entrance into Pittcon. Certainly something to keep your eye on. Finally, we have the Stellar Pittcon Party, and that is Tuesday, February 27th from 6 to 10 p.m. This is the premier social gathering for Pittcon, and it was sold out last year. It's approaching sellout again this year. There is one more cocktail sponsorship available, as well as other themed opportunities available at the Air and Space Museum. So don't miss out on that. Since it is an amazing network event, it's definitely always sure to be a big hit. Please feel free to reach out to me. If you're looking for something you don't see, just say it. I'll be more than happy to work with you to customize a sponsorship within your budget. You have my name and contact information, and I would love to get to know you and learn about your business and make sure that we're meeting all your needs here at Pittcon so that you shine. So thank you so much. And I will turn it back over to you, Jefferson.
Yeah, thank you, Colleen. So here's the best advice I can give every exhibitor listening to this, whether live or you're logged in on the replay. View your relationship with Pittcon. If this market is important to you, if FaceTime with your market is important to you, you're in the right event, right? View your relationship with the Pittcon team as that long-term partnership. Reach out, tell them what your goals are. Tell them who your audience is. Tell them what you're going to do on your own to market. Ask, given my goals, given my target audience, given my budget range, what opportunities would make the most sense for me? They'll gladly help you out and put the right opportunities in front of you. So make sure you DIY, do everything you can do on your own, but make sure that you're integrating the relevant opportunities that tie in and support your goals, right? Fit into your budget range and help you get what you want. Okay, Q&A, go ahead and bang that question thing if you have any right now. Go in there, type them in. I'm going to keep cranking because I got to get through a few more big rocks here, and then I'm going to come back and pick up all your questions before we log off here today. So we're moving through the process, right? We're on engage. So engaging is a high quality engagement with attendees, builds rapport, it opens or deepens relationships, it builds trust, preference, and loyalty. And there's a lot of power in that statement. So the practice is your booth staff. You want to be very careful about who you put in that booth, and you want to train them, have that emphasized, so they know how to manage visitor interactions in this crazy environment that we call a trade show. So I'm gonna give you some quick pointers here. People not only use trade shows to evaluate solutions, products, and services, they're evaluating the people behind the brands. At the end of the day, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And they make judgments, right? They'll make judgments sometimes about your company or your products based on your people. If your people did the right things, yay. If they didn't, you could have the greatest product in the world and they might walk out and going, I don't know, right? No, that was not cool. So make sure that your people, okay, best people forward. You want people in your booth that like being there, that understand how the environment is different, right? They understand that time, short interaction, high number of interactions, physical mental fatigue, right? Information overload, high competitive presence, right? These are all factors that make this environment very different and very challenging. So you want to make sure that you're putting the best people in your booth, okay? Because untrained booth staffers will unknowingly make behavioral and communication errors. It's going to cost you traffic. It's going to cost you lead quantity, quality. and can even do damage to your brand in the market, right? So here's some of the key things booth staffers need to know. And by the way, we've got some good webinars and articles. And if you are interested in exhibit staff training, I'm talking custom building a visitor interaction process, reach out to me and I can talk with you about that. They got to know how the environment is different. They got to know the rules of the game. Do this, don't do that. You'd be amazed how many people are breaking the rules, right? They got to know how to get into, and they got to know how to get out of interactions. And there's different scenarios when the visitor enters the booth, when they're on the perimeter walking by the booth, if you're at a social event, if you're out in the exhibit hall, right? They got to know how to gain quick understanding of who this visitor is. Who are they? Why are they here? And what do I need to do so we get value from our time together? If you got a lot of products or services, where do I focus? They got to know how to really identify visitor interest and take them right to the right product or service. When they do start talking about your company, your product, your service, they've got to be able to hit your messages concisely, persuasively, and interactively, right? Less is more at a trade show, right? They've got to know how to get visitors to give feedback and respond to figure out, is this a legitimate opportunity or is this someone who's just, yeah, here, scan my badge, and then and they're trying to get out of the interaction, right? So they got to know how to get visitor feedback. They got to capture more than just what's embedded in the badge. And here's the biggest thing. Most of you put leads as the thing. It's all about getting the visitor to collaborate and commit to a clear next action. If I didn't say anything else about leads and you only focused on that, it would change the game. If you're doing customer meetings that are pre-scheduled, man, you gotta have a game plan for these. If you're hosting hospitality events, yeah, there's gotta be a strategy for managing that, right? And training your staff to take advantage of the complete event experience, that the person that walks out of the show is even better, smarter, and wiser than the person who walked in, because it is a target-rich, growth-rich environment. And what your team can get from it if they enter into the show with the right attitude and the right objectives and game plan can blow your mind, okay? So we got a really good webinar for you called Secrets of the Aisles. And because we got a pretty fair number of international attendees, we have one on engaging international attendees. We have some great articles on the SRC on how to prepare your staff. Go grab them. Okay, capture. We're on our 7th step here, right? Actually, we're on our 6th, so I got to crank. Information is valuable is the principle. I'm gonna expand on it and go, information is priceless, right? The practice. Think about the different touch points that you're gonna have with attendees as you lead up to showtime, from your pre-marketing to your in-booth experience. And how do you capture more information? More than just what's embedded in the badge, right? There's already data in the badge and you wanna ask what information is in the badge so you know, but you wanna realize you may never have this chance again. And you wanna kind of look at, okay, what are we getting now and how are we capturing it? And then you wanna think about what additional information, if we could capture at the point of contact with a visitor, would give us deeper understanding, help us better personalize our follow-up, and make our, whether it's sales, dealer, distributors, want to follow up on the leads, right? So ask whoever you're routing your leads, ask them what information, if we could capture and give to you, would make you want to drop everything and follow up on this lead, right? And then come up with your questions. Design a visitor question process in a conversational sequence that gets them talking about themselves, right? Integrate the key questions into your lead capture device. It's one of the beautiful things about electronic lead capture is the ability to create custom qualifiers. I strongly encourage everybody to use the show's capture system. I know there's a little investment, but I tell you, it's not an expense. It's an absolute investment. If I walk into your booth, I'm thrilled about your company, and I go, man, you guys I love what you're doing here. Can you send me some information? And I hand you my badge to scan and you can't scan it. Think about the message you might be sending there. Think about the speed bump, the hiccup you just created, okay? And when you do use electronic capture and you design your visitor question map, train your staff on guiding the conversation with the right questions and using the capture device, okay? So, got a manager leads exercise, download it, schedule it, do it. And we've got some really good articles on lead management on the website. So go check those out. Let's talk about follow-up here. Here's the key principle. Now, especially if it's about, and buying can have a broad brush. It's not only about getting orders and doing that type of business, right? But be there when they're ready to act. Be there when they're ready to buy. So the practice here is to develop a follow-up system. Whatever promise you made the visitor in the booth, that you deliver on it, and you stay in touch in front of them for as long as it takes. Too many exhibitors give up short, right? So the key idea is, number one, the quality of a lead is going to come down to two things. How much more information do you capture? And do you get the visitor to collaborate and commit to the next step? You give me 50 leads that rank high on that, I'm going to convert 15 to 25 of them to business. You give me 500 scans or 500, hey, drop your business card here to win a GoPro. I'll be lucky to convert 5, right? If I even convert 5. There's another key point on follow-up. First responders win the majority of deals. You know, one of the cool things about electronic lead capture, the ability to upload your documents, your PDFs, and literally follow up the minute you're standing there with them. First responders win, right? It's important to have some way to grade your leads too. Is it an A? Is it a B? Is it a C? And if so, what makes it? And by the way, we talk about all this on our lead management webinar. And then you want to build your follow-up. You know, your A's get a certain follow-up track using what media, when, what content over time. Your B's, then your C's. Not all leads are created equal. Some are sales ready, some are marketing ready, some are nurture type leads. So you got to really build a multi-touch follow-up plan. And it's so important in your follow-up to use multiple media. Don't email overload everybody. Mix it up. Use as many media as you can. And think about, during your follow-up, every touch point should not be about trying to sell, right? Everybody loves a buy, but no one loves to be sold, right? So if you'll just think about what information, what content, how can I be a sustaining resource to what information, if I could put in front of them at bite-sized portions along the relationship, will begin to have them go, oh, this is who we want to be working with, right? And accelerating discontent means wherever they are today, your messaging is to try to use education and content to move them closer away from peachy keen, life is good, to, yeah, you know, this is annoying, to this is so much more annoying than I thought, to, yeah, no, this needs to get fixed. We can't handle this anymore. So that's moving people from that continuum to peachy keen, to minor annoyance, to major annoyance, to I have to solve this now, right? That's what your follow-up should do over time. And make sure that you're building educational and ways for them to interact in your follow-up. Maybe you're going to do polls. Maybe you're going to do surveys. Maybe you've got social media groups, right? Maybe you're going to do webinars. Maybe you're going to do your own events as part of your follow-up. Okay, so read the article on lead management, develop your follow-up plan, key point, before you get to the show. If you wait until after the show, you've lost. All right, final point, and I got to get to Q&A. I'm running just a minute or two behind. Bear with me. Thanks for staying with me. I'll get through this one quickly. Here's the principle. What gets measured gets done. Not only gets done, gets improved. In fact, it's very difficult to improve something if you're not measuring it, right? So the principle is you got to develop metrics, data capture points, and develop a post-show reporting process, right? So ask senior management, what are our goals? What information would you like to see to do what? Show how it's supporting where the company's going, show where they're getting value, right? Some of the things you could be measuring. Here's our budget, here's our actual. Hey, here's where we saved the company money. Here's how well we executed our exhibit. Here's the goals that we set, and here's the progress we've made so far. Here's the areas where it delivered value for the company. Here's our return on investment projections, hard dollar, soft dollar, short term and long term. And here's what we learned that's going to make our next exhibit and event even better, okay? So I would recommend that you create a post-show template report, a standard report that is a Word doc with some spreadsheets. By the way, there's a killer measurement spreadsheet on the ESRC. So download the Exhibit and Financial Performance tool. It's got 4 performance metrics and 5 financial value metrics. Do the exercise on measurement, and we've got 2 really killer webinars on this topic that deep dive it, and we've got some articles on it. Okay, so let's wrap this up and let me take a look at questions. Number 1, there's a lot online here. I get it. The team at Pittcon gets it. It's a big investment of human and financial capital. Senior management, you know what they want. Is it supporting our core goals? Are we getting value beyond cost? Okay, if you will apply whatever parts of the exhibit marketing process need improvement, one at a time, over time, you'll bring it home for your company. You'll be a rock star. You'll be a hero. You'll be somebody that they look at in the company and go, no, that's somebody who is really helping our company, understands where we're trying to go, and is really helping us get there. And a lot of good things come when you are seen like that within your company. So here's your big question as we wind down. You don't have to do everything, but I do want you to do at least 3 things. I want you to find, review, what were the 3 most important ideas that I heard here today that I'm not only going to think about, but I'm going to do, because knowledge in and of itself is not power. Knowledge intelligently applied toward a determined outcome, that's power. And that's what I want for you. And I want you to commit to applying those. So remember, the ESRC is your roadmap. I am going to take a quick look at the question queue. While I do, I'm going to bring Ryan back on for a moment. Just Ryan, for any additional thoughts or maybe closing comments, anything I might have missed.
Absolutely, Jefferson, and thank you very much for being here. Truly a wealth of knowledge with the exhibitor, the exhibit marketing process. There's definitely a lot of stuff to get through. One thing that we share in common is that we are both veterans, so we're very process driven. We are both very structured to a point of making sure that information is compartmentalized and everything makes sense going forward. So that was really good. Folks, as you're taking a look at some of these materials and things, be sure to stay tuned to the website, as we will be opening up our premium registrations and sponsorship opportunities on the site within the coming weeks. Definitely stay tuned to our social media, as we also have a number of our special programs, speakers that will be submitting interviews and things of that nature. Just a lot of stuff that gives you a proper snapshot of exactly what to expect for this monumentous event that we have going on in San Diego, our very first installment of Pittcon on the West Coast. And of course, it is our 75th anniversary. So as we're taking a look, let's also be mindful of the key points that Jefferson went over throughout this presentation to really key in on exactly what you have been doing for the extended time that you've been part of Pittcon, and what really needs to change in order for you to go to the next level in terms of making your exhibiting experience with Pittcon a game changer.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. I just got 2 quick questions. Hey, and by the way, remember, today is a beginning, not an end, right? 2 things I want you to do after this webinar. Of course, grab your 3 ideas that you're going to act on, but I want you to watch your email, give us some feedback on the webinar, and I want you to go to the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center and download the tools, download the exercises, schedule them out, put in the work. Because if you put in the work, it's what you get back is going to be a direct reflection to the effort you put in. You know, people think, oh, I just show up. You know, people used to say half of success is just showing up. Not anymore, especially not at trade shows, right? For all the reasons we said. So we got 2 questions. Number 1, how far in advance of a show should we begin our planning? To me, over my experience, the minimum window is 16 weeks. That's a little under 4 months. Gives you kind of enough time to do the right things at the right time and not get rushed. So 16 weeks. And by the way, we built our planning tool on the ESRC to be that planning and measurement tool. You'll notice when you download it, it's structured in a 16-week format. So 16 weeks. Next question is, how much of our exhibit budget should we be allocating to promoting and marketing? Well, the way I think about this is find out what the average is doing and do better than that. The last research from Exhibitor magazine had the average exhibitor allocating 5% of their total show budget to promoting their participation. My rule of thumb, 15%, because of all the areas that you're going to invest and spend money on. To me, the biggest thing that's going to make the difference is, can you get in the mind, on the agenda of enough of the right people? And therefore, I would recommend at least 15% of your total event budget to promoting and driving traffic. Because here's the thing, right? Does it matter if you have a big, pretty booth? Does it matter if you have a great product service? Does it matter if you have a enthusiastic, engaging, great booth staff, if you stand around for a few days and talk to one another? The answer is no. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? I don't know. I didn't hear it. I can't hear it. So those are some ideas on those two questions. I hope that helps. Let the questions keep coming. Toward the bottom of the ESRC, you've got, it's called Ask the Trade Show Experts. And of course, you've got the incredible team at Pittcon who's here to help you. So on behalf of everyone at Pittcon, I want to thank you for investing this hour of power. It's a beginning, not an end. Go to the ESRC, put in the work, if you will, and close this webinar, not by wishing you a better Pittcon, guarantee you're going to have a better experience. You're going to have better outcomes, better value, better ROI. And that's what we all want. That's why we do this with and for you. So go get them, have fun, use these next few months. I'm going to be at Pittcon. We're doing our exhibit effectiveness evaluations with a select group of exhibitors. You might be one of them. So I'll see you there. Ryan, thanks for emceeing today's event. And we will see everybody on the SRC, and we will see you at Pittcon. Have a great day, everybody. I really appreciated this time with you. Thank you.
Absolutely, Jefferson. Thank you very much for being with us. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being a part of this webinar. This will conclude our presentation. Within 24 hours, this will be readily uploaded for your viewing pleasure on the ESRC page on pittcon.org. Thank you.